Dr. Hovind, I love your doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 54 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December the 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen any of the previous episodes in this series, then I recommend that you go back and see those first, as in this episode I will start off exactly where I finished off in the last. In the last episode, Kent told us how time was like rafting in the Grand Canyon, and that God has a helicopter. In this episode, he continues some more. We are locked into 1991 right now. We will be here for a year and then we will be locked into 1992. We cannot speed it up or slow it down regardless of what we do. Yes, Kent. And I bet that's a right pain for you right now, bearing in mind that you're in prison for 10 years. I wonder what you'd give to speed that up. I wonder what we'd give to slow that down. But anyway, however, God is not in our time with us. He is above time. God is the one in the helicopter, so to speak. Holy helicopter Batman. He can see the beginning and the end and the middle all simultaneously. That is absolutely beyond our comprehension. Really, Kent? You've never heard of satellite photography then, have you? We don't understand that at all. No, you don't, Kent. But by faith we have to believe that, because God revealed himself to us as being outside of time. And Kent, you missed a comma out. He is omniscient, knows all things. The very opposite of you then, Kent. He is omnipresent, present everywhere and at all times. Unlike you, Kent, who at present is presently in a small cell for the present. God could right now, from his vantage point in heaven, see Adam and Eve in the garden. Yes, Kent, and I presume he's saying that grass could do with a bit of a cut, and I'll have to get round to weeding the borders. But he could see the end of the world, or see Christ on the cross, or any of the historical events between this roughly 6,000-year history of the earth. A shame he doesn't seem to want to do anything about all the suffering that's going on that he sees. But anyway, to say that God is locked into time is a serious mistake that people need to avoid. Yes, Kent, that's very good advice, because when you start talking about God and how he can see everything in the Earth's 6,000-year history, then people start to think you're an arsehole, and you really do need to avoid that kind of thing. But anyhow, someone once asked me the question, what did God do for all those billions of years before he made the Earth? Yes, Kent, that is a good question. He probably sat around watching the telly like everybody else. But anyway, that question indicates the faulty logic that God is locked into time like we are. You must avoid that if you are to understand anything about God. Yes, Kent. Now you're giving me advice on how to understand imaginary things. God created time. He started it about 6,000 years ago and will let it run until he is finished with whatever it is he wants to do. When we get to heaven, there will be no time. That's good. So at least you won't get bored. Because let's face it, there's nothing quite as boring as listening to harp music for the rest of eternity. But Kent, pray tell us more. We will not be in heaven for billions of years. There will not be any years at all. There are many songs that allude to time in heaven. For instance, when we've been there 10,000 years. I'm sorry, but we will not be there for 10,000 years. We will be there forever, which is a totally new dimension. Yes, Kent, and the last time I looked up what kind of things should go into a doctoral dissertation, reference to song titles was not one of them. But anyway, justify yourself. I cannot explain it because I don't understand it. I just have to believe. Right. So basically you've just prattled on for the last 5 pages. You've wasted 20 minutes of our time, and now you tell us that you can't explain any of it because you don't understand any of it, and you're only parroting it because you have to believe it. That, Kent, is the very definition of a dumbass talking bollocks. But do go on. I do know that it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 9 that God has things that we are not capable of understanding, things that are beyond our comprehension. I wonder if evolution by way of natural selection is one of them. I wonder if geology is another, and carbon dating is yet one more. Actually, Kent, it's probably faster if we just list the things you do comprehend. We'll start at, we'll leave it there for now. Do go on, Kent. There are new things for us to learn. Yes, Kent. That's one of the advantages of being a dumbass. There's new things to learn every day. Right now, we are not able to understand what heaven is like because of our limitation. At this point, Kent has stuck something to the page. From the black and white photocopy I have in my possession, it just looks like 4 black bars with a white squiggly line drawn on one of them. I'm guessing it's a picture cut out of one of Kent's 5th grade science books. I guess one of Kent's limitations was his ability to find a black and white picture of whatever this represents, one that would retain its detail once photocopied. But anyway, for instance, look at the illustration of the electromagnetic spectrum. We are of course presuming that that is what Kent's stuck-on diagram is. The section that we can see with our eyes we call the colour range. Well, Kent, maybe photocopying did something to the illustration, but I appear to be able to see all of it. And it's far from being in colour, it's all sort of black. These are basically 6 colours of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue and violet. The spectrum goes beyond that in both directions, forever. No, it doesn't, Kent. Maybe at one end the frequency can be greater than the age of the universe, with a wavelength many times greater than the width of the universe, but at the other end it will reach a wavelength and frequency of 0. But carry on. On the red side of the scale it goes down to infrared. You and I cannot see infrared with our eyes. That does not mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that we cannot see it. Really, Kent, does that mean that it cannot be observed? Because if it cannot be observed, it cannot exist. So, therefore, anybody believing that there is such thing as infrared, well, that must be their religion. You can't say that the infrared part of the spectrum is part of science, because as you've said, Kent, if you cannot see it, then the only thing you've got that is actually there is belief.